Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Javier with the Real Javier Novoa channel, a platform and a modality where we apply the principles of spirituality, philosophy, mysticism, and business to rapid lifestyle transformation. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you with a video that is more specific, perhaps more hands in the clay, more business oriented, more action oriented, getting back into the nitty-gritty of how you're going to go into rapid lifestyle transformation. But first, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to remind you, please, if you find value in our videos, go below and hit the subscribe button. Not only will it enable you to get more alerts for exactly when we release videos, but it will also help us get this message out to as many people as possible, because, ladies and gentlemen, the times are calling for that. There's no longer this stability in society that used to be there 30 years ago. There's no stability in jobs. There's no stability in business because everything's changing at such a rapid rate due to the vibrational situations that we've talked about in other videos. Therefore, it's very important to be able to take your reality into your own hands, take your reality into your own control, and to be able to, at will, reinvent yourself, rapidly learn, rapidly acquire skills, and be able to have that being in the driver's seat, so to speak. So please subscribe to our channel. I will give you a few seconds to do that. Thank you so much for doing that. So this video, I wanted to basically go into the concept of that many business coaches and spiritual coaches have touched upon, and that is this: the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your questions. That's right. In fact, every business consultant will tell you that the first step to getting to wherever it is that you want to go, whether in business or life, is being able to formulate the right questions. And of course, this is very important: the ability to interview, the ability to know what questions to ask of a mentor or a coach, the ability to be able to boil those down to their essence, so that you get the best bang for your buck, so to speak, by using the Pareto principle and other principles to being able to go to the core of an issue. But in this video, we're talking about this more on the journaling side, more questions that you ask yourself, questions that you ask your subconscious and your spirit. And this is very important because, as we know from a lot of previous videos that we've gone into in this channel, our spirit and our heart center is that part of us that, when we decided to come into the duality from the unity in this game, decided to stay behind. And it stayed behind, and therefore it is connected within this mirage, within this prison grid. Your spirit and your heart are still completely connected to that divine source, and therefore connected to everything that is. It is, in a word, what we called it in a previous video of ours. It is your own personal Chat GPT, although it is much more powerful than Chat GPT, because while Chat GPT and these other AI sources are able to source information that's been gathered for years and years from human society, and so on and so forth, and from what is visible and published and spoken and so on, your subconscious and your spirit are able to tap into the information field of the entire universe, and not only what is apparent, but what is unseen and what is probable, as we went into our video yesterday about the unseen driving the seen. And how to tap into that is tapping into your heart center, is tapping into your personal Chat GPT. And in order to do that, you have to know what questions to ask it, what questions to ask yourself. And this is practiced through introspection, through reflection, and through journaling. which are three modalities that we are going to be spending a lot of our time on in this channel while we're applying the principles to rapid lifestyle transformation to massive success. This is going to take off your life. So, many great leaders in every field not only have a methodology for formulating good questions, but also collect good questions that they find from others. And we'd recommend that you do this, especially if you're reading seminal works in a field that you're trying to rapidly study. And if you're reading great books from great business authors and coaches and philosophers and so on and so forth, any questions that they pose as part of their modality, you'll want to compile those and you'll want to reflect upon those. Many great questions are things that probably we've all heard, but have we spent the time to contemplate these, to develop on these? What would I do if I knew I could not fail? Another one is, if I knew that I was going to die in 1 year, what would I do? Another one is, if money were no object, what would I do? And you can apply these to any project or to any modality that you're trying to approach. One that I've developed, I know I've done it independently, but I'm sure there's someone else out there who's come to this, but one that I always ask myself is, if I were truly serious about this undertaking, be it a business, be it a project that I'm stuck on, I'll ask myself, if I was serious about approaching this modality and get it completed as soon as possible, what would my next step be? Of course, these questions, if you sit down and journal on them, they will get your juices flowing, and a lot of times you'll be able to tap into your subconscious and your spirit, and information will come out of you onto the page that was not consciously there. So that's the aspect of finding good questions. Another thing to do is having your methodology of generating questions. And one of the greatest methodologies that I use is, what's a question that's going to help me frame this issue in a way that I can feel less constricted or more free to pursue the path that I want to pursue in getting there? You understand? So for example, if I have, let's say, a project that I don't want to do and that I'm stuck with, I'll ask myself, what can I do to get myself there? And I'll ask myself, do I really want to pursue this project? Another great question that I believe it's Tim Ferriss talked about was, if I couldn't tell anybody about this, if I could do this but I couldn't tell anybody about it, would I still do it? And that's a good way to tap into your subconscious and figure out whether this goal or this intention is truly yours. Because as we've talked about in former videos, if the goal is not yours, it's going to be a lot harder to get there. Vadim Zeland talks about this in Reality Transurfing. Of course, you can make it yours, and that's where the auto-suggestion comes in, that's where the hypnosis comes in, and that's where the trying to change your beliefs and so on comes in. It all has its place, and we will talk about it in future videos. But it's a lot easier just to pursue the desires that are yours. You can find out that the desire is not yours if the majority of the reason that you're pursuing it is to show off or to prove something to others. So that's a great question to ask. Another just methodology that I use, and that I think the first place I read this was from the great book by Byron Katie about I forget what the book was called, but it goes into asking yourself questions. You can always turn around a question. And I think it was one of the great marketing geniuses, Seth Godin, who one of the first questions we asked in this video was, what if you knew that you couldn't fail? Well, Seth Godin turns this around and says, what if you knew that you were going to fail? What would you do? And I hope you sort of get the tenor of my disparate thoughts here on questions. These questions are basically to get your juices flowing. They're to be able to look at the situation from different angles. What you always want to do when you're approaching a situation that you have no idea how to achieve is to be able to look at it, or a situation that you're trying to learn that seems difficult to learn. You want to look at it from as many sides, from as many angles as you can, to try to find an entry point. It's as if you were assailing a fortress or trying to attack to get into the walls of an ancient city. You want to go and look at every side of that to determine what is your best plan of approach. That's what these questions will enable you to do, and that's what this methodology of questioning will enable you to do. So in your journaling, do this. Formulate questions, flip questions around, and ask questions that will sort of shock you and get you off guard. Another very good one is, what would happen if I totally screwed this up? Completely. Like, let's say you were trying to learn, I don't know, how to ride a bicycle. Well, how could you totally screw that up? Well, you could fall off the bike and break your leg. You could get on the bike backwards. You could ride it with the brake on. Make a list of all the things that would happen if that went totally and completely wrong. And then what you do is you start finding ways to ameliorate those scenarios. You find ways to make them better. So, for example, in bike riding, you say, well, I could fall off the bike and break my legs, so let me wear some knee pads and some protective gear and a helmet the first time I'm doing it. These are just some examples. So it's always going to help you vibrationally get unstuck and to get a handle on something that's harder to get a handle on if you know the questions to ask, if you're experienced in developing good questions, and if you're able to pick good questions from the top authorities in the field that you're trying to study. And that's also why research is good. And we're going to go more into this in videos in the future. But I just wanted to make a video on this because we are going to be going more into journaling, more into finding safe places, and how to get off the prison grid, how to get free from a boss, and how to actually have the hands in the clay in creating masterpieces in your life. That's what this channel is all about. So ladies and gentlemen, I am putting my email below. We're doing coaching calls where I basically exercise you in this methodology, guiding you hand in hand. You don't need to take years to learn something that you could learn in weeks or months with the help of an experienced coach, someone with experience not only in business consulting, but in the study of these modalities, both spiritual, business, philosophical, and others. So please email me for a coaching call. We are going to be releasing a lot of exciting new videos in the coming week, as we do every single day. So until tomorrow, till very soon, this is Javier with The Real Javier Novoa. With much love and appreciation, thanks for watching.